Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Success Lab podcast with Tim and Chris. Hi Tim.
Hello Christoph.
We welcome you to today's topics, which are quite diverse, I have to say. We have researched a little bit into different topics which can be interesting for you, which foster personal development and making the best versions of ourselves. Is that right?
That's right, and we have a lot of input today, a lot of topics that will go this direction, and I'm very keen to talk to you about it.
All right, I'm looking forward to this. So how do you want to start? Did you sleep well tonight?
That's a good question. I did sleep well, yeah. And actually, it's a good point that you start about sleep. So I went to bed a little bit later than usual, and I put my alarm at 6:45. Okay, but actually I woke up before that. And that's also one point I kind of want to tackle right here is if someone has a sleep rhythm and has gone for it for some while and has stood up the same time over and over again, which I'm doing right now, which is about 6 o'clock, not 7. And then you put your alarm at 7, you sometimes see and feel that you want to wake up early. And that's what happened today. For me, I realized it's very important to have a regular system, a regular sleep schedule.
Yes, that's really important. Let me make it extreme already in the beginning of the podcast.
Please do it.
What is the bad side of not having a regular sleep rhythm? So what's the downside? What are your health issues, and psychological and physiologically? What are your standpoints on that?
My opinion in my personal life is, first of all, it's gonna be trickier to go to bed if you don't have a regular rhythm, because your body doesn't know, oh, I need to sleep now. It's gonna be more difficult to go to bed.
Yes.
It's gonna be more tricky to wake up whenever you want to wake up, even if you need to sleep, because there's two different systems. The one system, they want to sleep because you need to recover, but the other system is just the clock. The clock doesn't care about that too much. To a certain degree it does. But the second thing is still waking up, getting the sleep, and the third thing is just the sleep quality. So I have heard numerous times from Dr. Andrew Huberman and other sources online about how important it is to get good quality sleep. And one of the good indicators, one of the good reasons you get good quality is if you have a good, consistent rhythm.
I think consistency is also key. I have very controversial, heard of controversial opinions about sleep and the importance of sleep, and also combining it with the circadian rhythm, right?
Yeah.
Which Dr. Andrew Huberman was talking about a lot. I have let's call this person a friend of mine, a friend of mine who is gaming a lot. So he is gaming excessively every day for a lot of hours, and he has, I think, switched and shifted his rhythm. So he is not going to bed before 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, and is sleeping until noon, right? So he has no rhythm and habits which are represented by a normal daily life, like working or eating dinner with family or something like this. So he doesn't have that. So he also doesn't have those restrictions, which makes this tryout a little more possible. So it doesn't have a downside from this part. And he says that he has no downside from this shift. Meaning also the cycle of sun and vitamin D consumption, of course. He doesn't feel it. He has done it for years now already and doesn't feel any disadvantage of this. What is your opinion to that?
I think it's tricky, and obviously we're not health certified people, we're not neurobiologists.
No.
We can only talk from, first of all, personal experience and the sources we have gathered and the sources we have learned. I think to a certain degree, I think consistency is actually more important than length and time. So consistency is the most important thing. So I actually think that's probably better then people go to bed usually sometimes at 10 and sometimes at 12 and sometimes at 2 and then again 10. That's very inconsistent. And I actually probably would say this is maybe more favorable because the consistency is there. He would probably get a good sleep. And the other question, obviously, I don't want to put this down. The other question about the sun and
Yes.
this influence, it is very important. And we have heard from Huberman also saying how important the sun is. It's super important. It's one of the best regulators for sleeping,
Yes.
inducing sleep, inducing wakefulness in the morning, inducing sleep at night. So this is important. I think it is important. So I still don't think it's the optimal thing, but I wouldn't play it down right away. If he has consistency, if it's fine with his social life, and if there's no vitamin D or energy lack in any sort, I think it's not concerning in the first state.
I was quite concerned because he's very close to me, and I've seen his shifting sleep cycle, and of course was concerned if his health is all right. But apparently it's okay. So it was very surprising that you can shift your sleep cycle apart from the circadian rhythm and the sun cycle. But yeah, I have to say, so we are now more and more in the spring and summer. So more and more sun is shining. So today is a beautiful day. We have a blue sky, and I really have to say that it is a huge influence in your mood. So I think I haven't had this kind of winter depression as much as this season. And so I really see the contrast between winter of 23 to 24 and now spring in 24.
That's great.
It's really crazy. Really like it.
It feels awesome, energized, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So crazy how happy everybody is.
Yeah.
And you're going through the street, everybody's smiling, of course, because the sun is shining.
It's so funny.
And you see more and more people when there's like in the morning and there's just a small arrow of sunbeam onto the street, and everybody is aligning behind each other to get some sun. It's like animals. Is it like there are some pictures of penguins who also have cats in the most random places. They're hanging over a coat hanger or something like this because the sun is beaming right there, and the cat is having so much effort to catch a lot of sunbeams.
I like the comparison with cats because I think most people have seen that the cats, they will look for spots in the sun until they're too hot
and enjoying it so much.
They will enjoy it, right?
Yes.
And the same thing happens right now here in Europe. I mean, it's different everywhere. Finally, yesterday I was in Graz, and it was super nice weather.
Yes.
And everyone, like, it's the first weekend this year that it's that nice weather. Everyone in the city had ice cream.
Oh wow!
Everyone was walking around. There was so many people, and everyone was happy, smiling. Kids, ice cream. It was very joyful. We were outside. We were playing. We were doing stuff. Really great. And then in the other side, in Salzburg, which is just a few hundred kilometers away, it was snowing.
You have been to Salzburg?
No, but I saw the
oh no, goodness! Because I've been to Salzburg, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Salzburg last week in Salzburg city.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any snow, but on the mountains for sure.
Yeah.
But there I also had a very, very clear experience of the effect of sun, because I have taught entrepreneurship at a school again, which is one of my passions and one of my jobs. And I really have to say, so on the second day there was so much sun, all the kids were so happy, and they had so much motivation to get things done. They were concentrated, they were laughing, were making jokes and focusing again, and their focusing phases were a lot longer.
Oh, okay. So,
right, the focus phase. It's really interesting. And on the next day it was pouring rain.
Right.
Everybody was unconcentrated.
Yeah.
Everybody was a little bit moody, and less motivated. So it was a huge effect on those like 30 young adults who had taught, and it was really interesting to make it in the context of sun.
I really like this topic with you mentioned winter depression, right? And now the effect on this weather, which is productive, I would say. It's more efficient. People are going to be more concentrated. They're maybe even going to be more able to pursue their goals more motivated. And it's really interesting how much we are influenced by weather, by those conditions. And I felt it myself today. I was way more motivated. I went for a run, and after the run I was even more motivated because runner's high and stuff. So that's also another thing to talk about. But this weather influence, it's there, and it's actually doing stuff with our brain, and I think we should notice it and then use it to our advantage.
Yeah, I think so too. So not only the sun, but also sports, right? To boosting our motivation, to really compensate some lows with sports.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's
quite
I
interesting.
always think about what you said. Like I think it's a half a year ago, and you said, gym is like the best psychotherapist, and it's free.
Yes.
And it's the same for running, maybe even more. I would actually make the argument running is even more, and I actually put it here, a mind training. Maybe you can find a more fancy word, but I think mind training puts it to the point. You literally run, and I was listening to a podcast from David Goggins.
Awesome, right?
Yeah, awesome. And it's like he says, it's like you're fighting no one else. You're not fighting anyone. You're fighting yourself. You're fighting your brain. You're fighting your internal voices.
Yes.
And your barriers you put there. I mean, he was saying today, I'm trying to quote it, most people on the planet run with 40% of their ability.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. It's like everyone has a governor in the car, but you can't go more. And it's actually, my goal wasn't, I went 15 kilometers, which is, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, it's long.
It's just good. But I actually wanted to only go 10 or 12. And then I was basically done at 12. I'm like, actually I can do more.
Yes.
I just want to beat myself. And so I was running for more. And I really enjoyed it. It was really mind training. It was just great feeling during the session and afterwards.
I really have to say, you can even make it stronger if you're not listening to a podcast or music because you're fighting yourself. It was like, I think 50 Cent. 50 Cent was saying about that. Try running on a treadmill without music on. Let's see how long you're going without any music, because you are alone with your mind. You have no distractions, and you cannot defend against your own thoughts. You have to process your own thoughts. So you're forced to be in this meditative state. I would also describe it as a meditative state. Your heart rate is a little bit higher, but constant, I think, if you're running on a long distance, and it's a repetitive movement, so you don't have to concentrate on what you're doing right now. And also you are gazing, you're not focusing on something, but you're gazing with your eyes. So those are all like entities of being in this meditative flowing state.
True.
So it's really nice. This is some kind of motivation. It's like active meditation. Active meditation. That's it.
I can only echo that. And also today, I felt that I did listen to a podcast, but I actually, like you said, I think it's good to also do it without. I mean, I think both have advantages, and it is a meditation. It's definitely a meditation. You're solving things. You're talking to yourself in a way. You're solving things. You're thinking. Maybe you get ideas. You are preparing yourself. You're getting motivated. It's just flow, you know. So yeah,
I really have to say. Maybe let's divide it in educational and motivational run and mind training run.
Okay.
So mind training run is without any distractions. I think it is even, I don't know. Do you think it is harder? Yeah, it is harder to run on a treadmill in the gym. For me, it is way harder than running in nature, right? So maybe if it's harder, then it's a bigger mental exercise. Could be. But I also have seen it. What was that? Yeah, I think last year in Thailand, and I was running some tours around a stadium, and I was also listening to David Goggins, of course, David Goggins, but when he was making his monologues in those different speeches, trying to boost your motivation with it or connect it with the things he has said,
Yeah.
that you are intentionally boosting your energy. I don't know if you had this experience, but I was running and I was getting a little lower. And then when David Goggins said, yeah, run faster, something like this, I don't know what he has said exactly. But then connecting my switch to his voice and boosting it and doubling my speed. I think this could also be some kind of mind training, but let's say it's guided motivation. Guided motivation with a podcast and free meditation. Guided meditation with David Goggins and Andrew Huberman and all the other people. And free meditation, which is of course then a little shorter, without any distractions. How about that?
I'm not sure if I could follow you,
Yes.
But from what I got is, I mean, I think both have an advantage. So like, both things work for different ways. The guided meditation probably can focus on certain things like running, mental strength, or other things, and boost those, enhance them. And the other thing is maybe more of like this relaxed meditating, and be more to yourself. Is that what you kind of described?
Yes.
Okay.
I have another topic. We have tackled sleep right in the beginning. Now we have switched unconsciously to sports.
Yeah.
And I've written a first thing I've written in there, which is concerning a podcast I've heard on the Modern Wisdom by Chris Williams, which has the topic sports versus sleep. So is it possible to substitute sleep with sport? By your opinion. I have mine.
Okay, I'm very curious hearing yours. I think it's ironic to have this question because I went into this conversation with you today with the opinion that sleep is like I had those two topics and the third one, like the sport and the sleeps topics, going into this discussion and thinking both is super important. Now you're asking, I have to choose, so that's kind of me. But I don't know, but I think for short run it could work. You can substitute. For long run, I think you need to sleep. The question is just how much sleep you need. What is too little and too long? If you take David Goggins, he apparently doesn't. He barely substitutes it, right? He uses sport instead of sleep to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we want or if we should go that far because he's doing it to very extreme, right? Also his knees and stuff, he gets like he does his stuff and he gets it done, but also to a cost. Like don't forget that everything we do, every human has a cost.
He will be quite crippled when he's
will probably he's already having issues with knees and stuff, and I think it depends what you want. Like in my opinion, he's overdoing it.
Yeah.
In his opinion, he isn't. That's totally fine, right? We all have different goals and opinions. So the bottom line is, I think it needs a balance. It's a very diplomatic answer.
It's a very diplomatic answer.
But I personally don't want to sacrifice sleep. That's my final statement.
What is the downside of having too little sleep?
Too little sleep. Okay. First, concentration and also maybe, I don't want to say happiness, but like joy during the day, like not in the moment, not joyful. So that's one thing, like how you feel during the day and how you can work. Second thing is just muscle synthesis. So no matter if you do like weight training or running, you need the time to repair. Physically and also mentally, that's the first thing, basically mentally and physically, reparations. So I think those are the two most important things I have seen for myself.
I've also heard of the disadvantages of short sleep, of a higher risk of heart attack, of course. So it's like blood flow. Then the second one, neurologically, the liquid around in which the brain is inside, it is changing while you are sleeping. And that's why it is even more healthy to sleep on the side, so that the liquid can change a little bit. I'm very sorry, I don't know the exact terms of this liquid in which the brain is in, but while sleeping, it is changing. So this is a big thing. And yeah, so cardiovascular, everything cardiovascular related. And also, I think cancer risk is rising with not enough sleep. But
yeah,
I will research it. I will put it into the podcast, the little quote. But this highly educated doctor said, to some degree, it is possible to substitute sleep by sport on a long-term basis.
Okay.
And not only David Goggins has done it, but the big king of YouTube, Casey Neistat. Casey Neistat went on a run like every day for 2 hours, something like this, like over a long-term, right? It's like over years.
Oh, okay.
Without any
Every
excuse.
day?
Every day.
How many?
2 hours. I don't know
2 hours.
how many miles, but it was a long as run.
That's crazy.
It's really crazy. And he did it on a sacrifice of sleep. Because he has a huge working schedule, first, and second of all, he had many events, so his sleep schedule was irregular. But his sports consistency, his sports routine was consistent. Quite crazy, and he has not have any disadvantage of this. So this is one thing. And the second thing is this doctor on the Modern Wisdom podcast. She was saying that all those benefits you get from sleep you can get by sports on some degree. So if you are choosing between sports and sleep for 1 hour, so 1 hour more sleep and 1 hour sports, then it is quite okay to choose the sports and also having the additional benefits of our runner's high, of like muscle growth and endurance training and stuff like this, and cardiovascular training, of course. It's heart training.
Totally. Interesting. So
yes,
first of all, very great input, and I would love to dig deeper in this topic and to research, because I think that's just no one really knows perfectly. There's like around those topics, there's so many question marks, and so many people don't know exactly, and we haven't researched everything. We have studies, we know some things, and I can totally see that this is a thing. Question is just how, So first of all, sport. So yeah, let's put this down. Sport could be one thing where we can maybe sacrifice sleep. But I also want to point out here to our audience, that's just sport, right? There's like so many other things. So if we sacrifice sleep, we better make sure it's a good thing for what we sacrifice it. So we're not going to sacrifice sleep for
playing games
or watching Netflix
or drinking.
Or drinking. Okay, that's another topic, drinking and alcohol.
Yes.
Or even working, because people go, working, productive. I don't see that. And we can also talk about this in a while, the alcohol and the working. But coming back to that, so sport, can be a thing. My question just here is how? Like what sport? Is it any sport? And what is like maybe a sport that comes closer to that, where the doctor says, okay, it's similar to the sleeping. So is it running? Is it weight training? Does it matter?
Yeah.
What is it?
I think they are all referring to low heart rate cardiovascular exercises, like running, like swimming, like cycling, something like this. I think that's what they mean.
I think that makes sense.
Right.
That's what I, from my knowledge, would think makes sense, and it's appropriate. And it's also what I saw today. I mean, I didn't have too little sleep, but I feel just the energy, and it's a different energy than to the energy I feel after weight training.
Yes,
it's still good, and it's still training for mind and then body, and I feel good, but it's different.
It's different.
Yes. So maybe I will. I mean, I'm not gonna do 2 hours a day, but maybe I go for a morning run every day right after waking up.
Yeah, you could try it out.
Maybe just like 20 minutes or 15 minutes.
How long do you want to do this? For, like trying out? Like
Are we gonna do this? You wanna do that as well?
No.
I might do that, but I don't wanna set goals, because I went 15 kilometers today, and I'm not sure if I can even
You're still on a high, right?
First of all, I'm on a high. Second of all, I'm not sure if I can run tomorrow.
Oh no, that's not a good thing.
Is it not a good thing?
That they're already arguments against the habit you want to build already on the next day.
Oh, but the thing, okay, not trying to defend myself here, but it's a different goal. But it's a different goal to.
Yeah.
There's two different goals here, right? The one goal is with the 15 kilometers, I'm trying to enhance my range, like my one-time range, basically, going to higher and higher distances. And the other goal is to have a habit, a consistent habit of running every day, not aiming for like a long distance, but aiming for consistency. So I don't think they're going hand in hand. So at the moment, I'm also preparing for a run in a few months in Graz, the Grazathlon. And so now there's a different goal, but I could see myself doing that if the circumstances arise. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a cool challenge, and I think with those challenges, you keep yourself on a pace of building your goals and building your fitness and activities and being more active in general, right?
Yeah, I'll take it with me and see where if I can do that one or the other day this week.
Yes.
Let's see. We can talk about it.
You guys are gonna find out.
Yeah.
So that's sleep, right? And also a little bit of mind training. I think it's quite interesting of training your mind. I really have to say that I'm less on a journey of training my mind through sports, but on over meditation. So I really have to say that when I don't spend too much time alone or with myself, that my goals are getting a little bit dizzy. So I get this dizziness and not being sure and being clear of what I want or where I want to go. And the goals I have set became less relevant. And that's when I just have made the decision, when it comes to this state of mind of not being 100% clear, that I focus a lot of time into meditation. So I do at minimum now 2 meditation sessions of 15 minutes a day.
2?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. So one in the morning, that's for sure. And then one, let's say maybe in the afternoon slump or before night. So this is going well. I think it's making a lot of impact, and it's really cool to have this skill that you can develop more and more.
Yeah.
So there's a good base, a foundation, and you can develop it as much as you want. And if there's a little bit of a party phase, then there's a bit of a party phase, which is all right. Or this week was quite a lot of events, I have to say, and there I didn't take care a lot of my mental health, and now it's going again.
That's
with those bigger habits. Yeah,
I
that's
really
a part
like
of my training.
I really like that. Like 2 times a day, consistently. That's a big commitment and a big thing. I think that's great. I always do it in the morning. At the moment, not as consistently as usually, but I only do it once a day. I think sometimes, very rarely, but it's good. Is when I'm in the afternoon slump. I really like that, and I want to point it out. This is also a big thing because we have our focus and cognitive power basically dropping. We have a peak, and then it goes down. We drop, we eat, and then we have a slump in concentration, in alertness and stuff. So I did that the other day, and I meditated, and then I was so energized again. And I wanna hear your take on it, how good it is, and how you felt with it.
Well, I'm also reading The Power of Now. Still,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
We've mentioned it like two episodes ago.
Read it, yeah.
Quite intensively. So really check this one out, because we had a lot of insight. We even made a little bit of a reading session and have read through some quotes there. Really powerful, and this kind of presence. I have to say that I had this feeling when superhero movies or like secret agent movies come out and I watch them in the cinema. Let me explain.
Okay, please.
Quite controversial. When the last James Bond came out, and I watched it in the movies, in the cinema, and after that, I don't know why, but I was super concentrated. I also felt a little bit like James Bond, of course, but I was super present. I recognized all the senses outside, but I wasn't overwhelmed by them, and I was quite focused on what I was doing. for like half an hour or 1 hour. And this was already, those were the first moments when I had some kind of present state of mindset and mind state of mind, that's the word. And now I had it with meditation. So I went more and more into this flow of being present in the meditation practices in Thailand when I did my meditation retreat, where I excessively had meditations for like on average 6 hours a day, which is quite a lot.
That's a lot.
Yes, it's really a lot, but this big challenge made huge progress steps in my meditation journey. And right now it's the same. So I'm more and more present. I feel more senses, but I'm less overwhelmed by them. And I can focus and I can choose which sense I want to process. And therefore also, of course, get more stuff done and more relaxed.
Wow. Yeah, that's great.
Present.
I think
present state of presence.
Present state, being in the moment, power of now.
Power of now. All the same stuff.
I think it's super great, and I actually believe that, and I think we can all come there. I think you're actually a little bit you practicing it more at the moment than I am, but I do feel the same. The days I practice my meditation in the morning, I can feel a difference. I'm more calm. I can like you said, you have the impulses, but you can kind of choose more. You see them more clear. You can kind of pick them, and you kind of choose your response. So I really think that's a big thing, and I want to take that also home to more meditation.
Motivated. It's a tongue breaker.
We want to do more meditation. And I also think it's interesting that with the stuff of the cinema. Why is it?
I don't know.
But you're right. I also think it's a different thing watching the movie in the cinema and let's assume it's a very good movie and it's super engaging and you really engage to it. You are different. You're different mind of state actually, state of mind.
Is it some kind of deep focus?
Yeah.
Is it some kind? I don't know. I divide between like deep focus on one thing and broad focus of gazing.
Yeah.
True, concentrated gazing.
Right.
And what do you think? Which kind of focus do you think it is?
I think it's the deep thing.
Yeah.
The deep focus. Because when I read The Power of Now, he also talks about kind of the thing is it doesn't really matter what you're doing or what you're focusing. So it's just you wanna be in the moment, in the present thing, doing what you're doing and really focusing it. It can be cleaning, it can be even video gaming maybe. I don't wanna, maybe it's different because there's a lot of inputs, but theoretically, yeah, it can be watching the movie or having a great time with a picnic, doing outside in the garden with friends, or meditating, right? It's all, you just wanna be super present with what you're doing.
Yes.
And the thing is, you don't want to have this gazing thing too much and thinking about 100 things. Maybe there are impulses, but you're still focusing on the one thing you're doing. Yeah.
Quite interesting. And I also divide meditation also in two parts. I think one meditation or the first step of meditation is focusing on one point or on one thing.
Yeah.
And blending out all the other things of this world. And I think the second step is not even focusing on something, but it's some kind of total awareness thingy, which is kind of esoteric. We don't want to go into this direction too much, but it's some kind of awareness and you're not focusing on something, which is quite interesting because I was talking to the head monk there in Thailand in this monastery, and he said that a lot of people who had this enlightenment process while doing a simple task on which you are not concentrating and have this awareness thing, which was there brooming.
Yeah.
So we had so much green area and a lot of leaves on there.
Yeah.
So every day we were brooming.
Yeah.
There was like a 4-hour time block in the day right after lunch, a lunch at midday. And And after this, you had free time of 4 hours to doing something productive, of meditating, but you had already a lot of meditation before that. So a lot of people were brooming the green area, the grass, or the pathways.
Yeah.
And this meditative state of the sun burning down on you, you are sweating, and you are thinking less and less of the broom strokes, brings you into this meditative flow state, which it extracts you a little bit from the person. But this is getting way too esoteric.
I can see that, and it's funny that you're talking about brooming, because the book I read, it's the Way of Zen. It's also, we also had this one chapter about cleaning, brooming, and those things, and he also said that Zen monks, they will use that technique kind of to go into this state. So I think that goes to the not thinking. I mean, kind of both, can be both, because I like your kind of two separation of those two sorts. The one thinking of only brooming, or even the thinking of nothing and it goes away, and then, like you said, esoteric. I think it's totally, it's just there, but it's not describable. But the thing is, you just go out and there's nothing.
Yeah.
And that can also be achieved with the brooming and with any cleaning or housework basically. Maybe it's different in the city and in the work life for people, because they have so many impulses and then the phone rings or something. But if you are away and you have a kind of retreat, for example, and you're just cleaning something, you are meditating.
Yeah.
You are meditating.
I would love to develop this topic into a more user-friendly and more earthy subject and application. So you have a lot of knowledge of meditation and are already a little bit advanced in this journey. How does this influence your daily life, and what benefits do you have in your rational success story? Because I really want to make it a little bit more applicable on what you're saying, which is not only philosophical.
I
like to do philosophical, but let's do hard facts.
Okay, let's try. So first of all, the application is obviously meditating, right? That's the easiest application, I would say.
Yeah.
So take a time, schedule, make it consistent, meditate for X amount of time, have an app, whatever, do meditation.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you can always, like we just talked, you can always meditate. You can basically have a meditative mindset going through the whole day. And I think this is super difficult to have it all the time.
Yeah.
But we can step by step go there to get more in this state of mind. And those can be just simple things. Just trying to make it a habit to always spot like see the world or whatever you're doing, seeing, and focus on a thing and be grateful for it. Can be one pathway or just focusing it. So like when you go to work, for example, I have make it a habit to go on the one side where there's like green stuff on this one pathway, and always when I'm there, I'm kind of like, it clicks and I take a deep breath, and then it feels good, like especially in spring, but also if it's not spring, it's just nice. There's green stuff. I know this is the way, and you're just focusing on the one thing. And in my case, this one thing is this place, is the green area right next to it.
Let's dig deeper a little bit into this. So what kind of benefits do you see in your daily life with your a little bit more of a present level? Like in general.
I think if there is an impulse, if there's something that makes you would make you more angry or upset, you have more of the ability to choose how to react and how to feel about it. So I think it's react is one thing. Usually there's autonomic responses. This is just how the brain works, but you can still kind of go between them, and I don't want to react like this, and then you can change that. So you can rewire your brain. You can more decide how to react, and you can also to a certain degree decide how you feel about it. Because also the feeling, and now we're going deep into this whole discussion about power of now and stuff, but feeling is you can decide reaction, you can decide all those things, right?
Let me rephrase this question.
Yeah, please.
How does meditation and your more present state of mind influence your success and in your career?
Okay. Do you have an answer?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to hear it.
I think one is being more resistant to stress.
Yeah.
So stress resistancy, especially when in those workshop and event circumstances, there are a lot of sense overflows on you and a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's a big point.
Dealing with that is way easier if you're in yourself, if you're with yourself, centered, you can also say. I think you get less damage from this.
Yeah.
I think everybody can do it on a short term.
Yeah.
But having less bruises and injuries psychologically through those events, you're getting more resistible and stronger with a meditative state of mind. I think so.
I totally agree. I think the pressure thing for me is that speaks worlds. Like when you have that balance and meditating or any sort of being with yourself, me time or whatever it is, it can also be a bath, by the way.
Yeah.
Just taking a bath. It will make you more resistible to those pressure events, to those pressure things, to those situations, and then you can also kind of like I see like that you can take the energy you have, like let's say you meditated in the morning and there is something happened at work at like 4 p.m. okay, and you feel stressed out or something is bad, but then you can take the energy from the morning meditating session and just connect to it, if that makes sense.
Yes. For me, it makes total sense.
Okay.
There is some, not only a tool, but also a time point in your day on which you had total control of and to which you can always relate to.
Right.
Like you can always connect to it. So you're having a shitty day, you remember your state of mind which you had in the morning. Oh, I want to feel like this. Bam. And I'm a little bit more improved.
Yeah, and I do think that's also something practical. So you were asking about practical things in meditating. I'm thinking of how to respond, right?
Yes.
Focusing on one thing, making it a habit. For example, you come into a room, see what is there, realize, be thankful, or also connecting to this thing. There is something, I want to connect to this calm state, you know? So those are all things you can apply.
Today there's something in the air. Applications, applicable. That's also a very a difficult word. I want to dive even more into this. I want to mention my mentor, Nick, who was the person who convinced me to learn to read The Power of Now. Because you tried to convince me. I'm so sorry. My past girlfriend wanted to convince me to read this book. No one could because it was too esoterical, and I thought it would shift my perspective on life too much. So everything I've built upon is useless. But one very applicable thing, maybe we boost the sales of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. My mentor, Nick, he told me that big personalities like Simon Sinek has this huge aura of charisma because he is present. And Nick has really analyzed a lot of speeches of him, and he has this hypothesis of a turning point in his presentations when could be the time point that Simon Sinek has read the book. And he has learned about being present in the moment, and therefore afterwards he was so much more charismatic on his stages. So that charisma develops from being present.
He read The Power of Now. That's the book you talk. When he read that, you could see the change on the stage.
Yes.
The presence.
I really believe in that.
Interesting.
And I would also love to do some studies on this one.
Awesome.
That Simon Sinek was positively influenced by
Yeah.
the power of now.
Yeah, I can totally see that. That's great, and yeah, I think we should go there.
Where? On stage? Oh, let's
We
do
should.
it.
First of all, we should go on stage.
Let's go on stage right now.
Yeah, but secondly, just we want to see the response of us responding to power of now. You know, so we all want to practice the power of now, and then we want to see that it makes a change.
Yes.
And usually it's other people telling us, because it's difficult to see the change with ourselves. So I think this could be a goal for everyone, but I think it's a goal for me to be more present. It's always going to be a more goal to be more present. And this is one thing, and I want to say this very clear. There's never going to be the state that we are done.
Yeah.
Okay? We're never going to be done.
When somebody says, yeah, I'm present, I figure it out, I don't take the person seriously.
You're not present.
Yeah. You're even less present than people who are still fighting every day to be more in the present.
Exactly.
And which drives me crazy is when you're trying hard to be present, you're less present.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If you think you're running towards one goal and think you're a little bit closer to the goal, you're twice away, twice as far away.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
So just be present without trying to be present.
Right. I'm really looking forward to some of your reactions on, how the hell should we do that?
Yeah, I think it's just a super long journey, and those are things we cannot just simply state out here and it's easy. We can throw out cool quotes and stuff, but I think in the end it's the response of yourself. I think something clicked, and this could be anything, you know. It's not always like we say a certain sentence, but we should just try to think of ourselves, how can we do it, and we will find our way earlier or later, some point or now.
And we will bring you guys around this journey, and maybe you will see some switch of us.
Hopefully.
Yeah. We'd love to know if anybody sees some kind of difference in the next weeks, months, and years, because this podcast is going to be a long-term thing. You know, you're going to hear a lot from us over the next months and years.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
It is, and it's also something we try to make good content. We try to improve every time.
Yes.
Today we tried out something different. We have two different perspectives. We always try out to make best content. We will improve, and we would ask you to give us feedback for that.
Yes.
Just to, before we leave, we want to summarize the episode, and then we can make it cut for today.
Cool.
So,
I think we've started with sleep.
Yeah.
Which was quite interesting, and because we both went on separate runs this morning, we developed those learnings from sleep and the importance of sleep to sports, and even made the comparison of sports and sleep on what can be substituted by what. And of course, we have made the conclusion of a very diplomatic answer. It depends. Can be on a short term, but on a long term, it's quite different. And we will connect you with the Modern Wisdom podcast, in which we have a lot of deep insight from doctors and professionals. And a very nice topic was also mind training, training your mind, training it like a muscle, and also some tactics, which brought us to a little bit of a meditative state, I think, and explaining the state of mind. And of course, we can maybe make a streak of how many episodes we have mentioned the power of now.
Yeah.
It would be very funny. And also the applicable and applicable advantages of being more present.
Definitely.
How can you really implement those learnings, which can be a little bit esoteric and blah, 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 into your daily life and make the best version of yourself? I think that's cool.
Yeah. That's a great summary. I just want to mention, I really love talking about this sleep and sport thing. You summarized it perfectly. For myself, I learned, yes, probably we can substitute it to a certain degree if it's good sport.
Yes.
And I will take it in consideration to go more consistently running, maybe shorter distances. I also learned about the meditating thing, to maybe incorporate it in the afternoon. I want to do that. And again and again, trying to focus to be more present. Any situation I am, talking to you, doing this, going to the next thing I'm doing, just trying to be more present.
Yes.
And I think this is a good point to end this podcast.
Yes.
Let's do it. Be more present.
Yes.
Thank you very much for listening. Give us feedback, thumbs up, like, subscribe, and listen to our next episode in 2 weeks.
Comment
comment,
too,
yeah.
right? Yeah, we're gonna be on multiple platforms right now, and we'll distribute a lot of those short form contents also on short version content platforms, and are really looking forward to build this community, to make this a very cool podcast, and let you go with us on the state of perfection of the success story.
Success story, Success Lab.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. See you in
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Bye.
Bye bye.